Story of the first man and woman, life in the Garden of Eden. In the days when the heavens and the earth were still young, the world was a fresh creation, vibrant with life yet awaiting its final inhabitants. There were no crops in the fields, no farmers to till the soil. The earth was covered in a wild beauty, untamed forests, sweeping plains, and rivers that flowed endlessly. The sun and moon took turns guiding the sky, and though the animals roamed the earth, there was something missing. The land was fertile, but no rain had yet fallen to bring forth its full bounty. Instead, a gentle mist rose up from the ground each morning, watering the earth like a soft breath of life. God, who had already filled the world with creatures of every kind, birds that flew through the skies, fish that swam in the waters, and animals that roamed the land, knew that his masterpiece was not yet complete. The land awaited its caretakers. Creation longed for someone to walk its paths, to tend to its needs, and to take joy in its splendor. And so, God began the next chapter of his creation. With the earth rich and the air full of life, he bent down, closer than ever before. His hands reached into the soil, rich, dark, and filled with potential. From the very dust of the earth, God began to form something unique. He shaped the figure of a man, crafting him with intention and love. Each detail of this new creation was fashioned with care: the strong arms, the hands capable of both tenderness and work, the legs built for walking through the world, and the heart, created not just to beat but to love. This man, unlike the animals, was formed in the image of God, made with the capacity to understand, to create, and to care for the world. But the man was not yet alive. He was simply a figure of clay, waiting for the divine spark that would bring him to life. Then God leaned down and, in an intimate and beautiful act, breathed into the man's nostrils the breath of life. This was no ordinary breath, it was the very breath of God himself, the essence of life, filling the man's lungs and awakening his soul. In that moment, the man's eyes opened. He gasped his first breath of air, feeling it rush through him like a river of life. His heart began to beat, his limbs stirred, and for the first time, he became aware of the world around him. He felt the warmth of the sun on his skin, the soft earth beneath his feet, and the gentle wind brushing across his face. This was Adam, the first man, made from the earth but filled with the breath of God. He was both a part of the earth and set apart from it, created to reflect the image of his Creator. God did not leave Adam to wander aimlessly through the wild earth. He had prepared a special place, a paradise where Adam would live, a garden like no other, full of life, beauty, and peace. This was the Garden of Eden, planted by God himself in the eastern part of the world. The Garden of Eden was a place of incredible abundance. It was filled with every kind of tree, trees that were not only pleasing to the eye but also full of delicious fruit. The trees stood tall and strong, their branches heavy with apples, figs, pomegranates, and every other kind of fruit one could imagine. Flowers bloomed in every color, filling the air with sweet fragrances, and the sound of birds singing echoed through the trees. At the center of the garden stood two remarkable trees. One was the tree of life, its branches stretching toward the sky, its fruit glowing with an almost otherworldly radiance. The tree of life was a symbol of eternity, of the endless life that Adam and his descendants could enjoy in this perfect world. The other was the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. This tree, though beautiful like the others, carried a weight of responsibility. Its fruit was not for eating, for it held within it the knowledge of things beyond the innocence of Adam's world. God placed Adam in this paradise, giving him a purpose and a role. "You are free to eat from any tree in the garden," God said to Adam, "but you must not eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, for when you eat from it, you will surely die." Adam understood this command. The garden was a place of freedom and abundance, and God had given him every good thing. The only boundary was that single tree, the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, whose fruit he was not to touch. As Adam walked through the Garden of Eden, he marveled at the beauty around him. He saw the trees heavy with fruit, the flowers blooming in vibrant colors, and the rivers flowing gently through the land. For great rivers watered the garden, bringing life and fertility to every corner. These rivers were called the Pishon, the Gihon, the Tigris, and the Euphrates, and they carried the waters of life through the garden and beyond. Adam had been given the responsibility to walk the garden and take care of it. But this was not labor as we know it today. His work was a joy, a form of communion with the earth. He tended to the plants, watching them grow and flourish under his care. He gathered the fruit of the trees, enjoying the sweetness of the garden's bounty. Every task he performed was a reflection of the harmony between man and creation. Each day, Adam walked through the garden, naming the animals that God had created. The birds that soared through the sky, the fish that swam in the rivers, the animals that roamed the land, all came before Adam, and he gave each one a name. This was a sign of Adam's unique role in creation. He was not just another creature, he was the steward of the earth, entrusted with the care of all living things. Yet, despite the beauty of the garden and the companionship of the animals, something was missing. As Adam walked through Eden, he felt a loneliness in his heart. The animals were wonderful, each with its own purpose, but none of them were like him. None could share in his thoughts, his joys, or his questions about the world. Adam longed for someone who could walk beside him, someone who was his equal. God, in his infinite wisdom and love, saw Adam's loneliness and knew that it was not good for him to be alone. He had created Adam for relationship, not just with the world around him but with another who would be his partner in life. So God said, "It is not good for the man to be alone. I will make a helper suitable for him." God caused Adam to fall into a deep sleep. While Adam slept peacefully, unaware of what was happening, God took one of his ribs and, from it, fashioned a woman. Just as he had formed Adam from the dust of the earth, God now crafted the woman from the very flesh of Adam. She was created with the same care, the same love, and the same purpose as Adam. She was made to be his equal, his companion, and his partner in life. When Adam awoke from his deep sleep, he saw the woman standing before him. She was unlike anything he had ever seen, beautiful, radiant, and alive with the same breath of life that filled him. In her, Adam saw a reflection of himself, yet she was different, a new creation made to complement him in every way. Overcome with joy, Adam exclaimed, "This is now bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh, she shall be called woman, for she was taken out of man." The woman, whom Adam would later name Eve, was brought to him by God, and the two stood together in the beauty of the garden. They were the first husband and wife, joined together in love and unity. In this perfect world, there was no shame, no fear, and no division between them. They were naked, yet they felt no shame, for they lived in a state of pure innocence and trust. Adam and Eve began their life together in the Garden of Eden, walking hand in hand through the beauty of creation. Every day was filled with wonder and discovery. The birds sang sweetly from the branches of the trees, and the animals played peacefully in the fields. The rivers flowed with clear, pure water, and the fruit of the garden was always ripe and delicious. Together, Adam and Eve cared for the garden, walking side by side to tend to the plants and the animals. Their work was joyful and fulfilling, for they were in perfect harmony with the world around them. The soil responded to their touch, the animals trusted them, and the trees yielded their fruit without effort. In the evenings, as the sun set and the stars appeared in the sky, Adam and Eve would rest in the cool shade, marveling at the beauty of the heavens. The stars twinkled like diamonds, and the moon cast a gentle glow over the garden. Sometimes, in the cool of the day, God himself would walk with them, speaking to them and teaching them about the world he had made. These moments were filled with a deep sense of peace and contentment. Adam and Eve lived in perfect unity with each other and with their Creator. There was no conflict, no sorrow, and no hardship. They did not know pain, nor had they ever experienced death. Life in the Garden of Eden was one of unbroken joy, a reflection of God's original intent for the world and for humanity. They were stewards, walking in harmony with creation, not as lords over it, but as caretakers and companions to the world around them. Each day brought new wonders for Adam and Eve. The garden was vast and filled with endless possibilities for discovery. As they explored, they found hidden groves where the sunlight dappled the ground, and streams where the water was so clear that they could see every pebble at the bottom. Everywhere they went, there was life, bees buzzing as they collected nectar from flowers, deer quietly grazing in the meadows, and birds flitting from tree to tree, singing their joyful songs. The fruit of the garden was abundant, each tree offering a new flavor and texture, sweeter and more delightful than the last. Sometimes, Adam and Eve would sit beneath a tree, eating its fruit while talking and laughing, sharing their thoughts and feelings about the wonders of the world they were experiencing together. They grew to understand the rhythms of the earth, the way the sun moved across the sky, how the plants responded to the warmth and light, and how the animals followed the natural cycles of day and night. Every part of creation had its place and purpose, and Adam and Eve were at the center of it, the caretakers of this beautiful and delicate balance. As they walked through Eden, they were constantly reminded of the presence of God. His love was evident in every leaf, in every creature, and in the gentle breeze that whispered through the garden. It was a place of communion, where God's nearness could be felt with every step they took. Adam and Eve were not just companions, but equals. Eve was not simply a helper in the way that the animals were helpers to Adam, each with their role in creation. She was his partner in the fullest sense, sharing in the responsibilities and the joys of the garden. Together, they were a reflection of the image of God, with Adam representing strength and provision, and Eve embodying grace and nurturing. Yet these qualities flowed freely between them, for they were both made in the likeness of their Creator. They often worked side by side, tending to the plants, gathering fruit, or naming the creatures that came before them. Sometimes, they would simply walk in silence, enjoying each other's presence. Other times, they would laugh together, marveling at the beauty of a flower, the grace of a deer, or the sparkling clarity of a stream. In their work and their rest, Adam and Eve were united. There was no struggle for dominance, no competition between them, only a deep and abiding love. They were one flesh, bound together not only by their creation but by the very essence of their being. The love that they shared was pure and untainted, as they were not yet touched by the knowledge of sin or the burden of separation from God. In the very heart of the Garden of Eden, two trees stood as sentinels, the tree of life and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. These trees were not like the others that Adam and Eve enjoyed. While the rest of the garden was open to them, every fruit, every plant, every river, these two trees were different. The tree of life was magnificent, with golden leaves that shimmered in the sunlight, its branches heavy with fruit that seemed to glow with an inner light. The fruit of the tree of life promised eternity, a never-ending existence in the presence of God. Yet, Adam and Eve had not yet eaten from it. They did not yet fully understand the depth of what eternal life in this perfect world meant, for they lived without the shadow of death or decay. Next to it stood the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Its fruit was beautiful to look at, as enticing as any of the other fruits in the garden. But God had commanded Adam and Eve not to eat from it. You must not eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, for when you eat from it, you will surely die, God had said. It was a command given out of love, not as a restriction, but as a protection. Adam and Eve understood this. They respected the boundary God had set. After all, the garden was full of other trees, brimming with every kind of delicious fruit. Why would they need to eat from the one tree that God had forbidden? And so they lived in trust. They believed that God's wisdom was greater than their own, and they were content to enjoy all the other gifts He had given them. The presence of the forbidden tree in the garden did not trouble them. It was simply part of the world they inhabited, a reminder of the freedom they had to choose, and the trust they placed in God. In the cool of the evening, as the shadows lengthened and the day's heat faded, Adam and Eve would often hear the sound of God walking in the garden. These moments were sacred, times when the Creator came to be with His creation, to walk and talk with the first man and woman. There was no fear in His presence, only love and peace. God spoke with them, not as a distant ruler, but as a loving Father, guiding them, teaching them, and sharing in the joy of the world He had made. Adam and Eve eagerly awaited these times, when they could ask questions, learn, and simply be in the presence of their Creator. They felt no shame in His presence, for they were innocent and pure. They lived in the perfect relationship that God had intended for humanity, walking with Him, knowing Him deeply, and being fully known in return. These walks with God were not rushed or hurried. They were moments of eternity, where time seemed to stand still, and everything else faded into the background. The Creator and His creation, walking together in perfect harmony, bound by love and trust. Adam and Eve lived in a state of pure innocence. They had no concept of evil, no understanding of sin or the brokenness that would one day enter the world. Their minds were not troubled by fear or doubt. They did not know what it meant to hurt, to suffer, or to die. Every day was a gift, and every moment was filled with wonder and discovery. They were naked, and they felt no shame. Their bodies were part of the perfection of creation, and there was nothing to hide. There were no barriers between them, no secrets, no guilt, no division. Their relationship was marked by openness and trust, and they reveled in the simple joy of being together, of sharing life in the most perfect way. In this state of innocence, they were free. Free to explore, to learn, to grow, and to love. They did not worry about the future, for they lived in the present, enjoying the fullness of life as it was meant to be. Their days were filled with laughter, love, and the endless beauty of the garden. As Adam and Eve continued their life in the Garden of Eden, they were unaware of the challenges and choices that lay ahead. For now, their world was one of unbroken peace and harmony, a world where every creature lived in balance with the earth and where humanity walked hand in hand with God. But the presence of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil hinted at a future choice, a moment when the innocence they now enjoyed would be tested. They did not know it yet, but the story of humanity was about to take a dramatic turn, one that would change the course of history forever. For now, however, the garden was still a paradise. Adam and Eve lived in the fullness of God's creation, experiencing life as it was meant to be, free from pain, free from suffering, and filled with the presence of God. Each day was a gift, each moment a new opportunity to experience the wonder of the world they had been given. They did not yet know the depth of their freedom, nor the consequences of the choices they would soon face. For now, they were content to live in the light of God's love, trusting in His wisdom and rejoicing in the life He had breathed into them. And so, the story of the first man and woman continued, a story of life, love, and perfect harmony in the Garden of Eden, a paradise that would one day become the stage for the greatest drama of all, the story of humanity's fall and redemption. But that, too, was part of God's plan, a plan that would unfold in ways that Adam and Eve could not yet imagine. For now, they lived in the beauty of innocence, unaware of the trials to come, but held securely in the love of their Creator, who walked with them in the cool of the day, guiding them gently through the wonder of the world He had made. Wait, don't go yet. If you know you love God and you love this video, please like this video, share your thoughts in the comment section below and share this video to your friends and family. Don't watch alone guys, share it. Cause you know sharing is caring and caring is loving and of course loving is godly and most importantly please subscribe. Thanks for watching, see you in my next video, bye.